The identity of the new pope at the end of the second day of balloting. A secret conclave, the College of Cardinals have selected a new pontiff, and we're waiting now for the dean of the cardinal deacons. We assume it will be Cardinal Felici, but we'll have to wait and see, to come out and give us the news of the new pope. Let's go to...
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Fire the Spirit YouTube. I'm Monica, and today we're going to be talking about John Paul II. We want to do a special honor to him by compiling 10 fun facts that you might not have known about John Paul II. So let's get to it. Did you know that John Paul II continued skiing until he was 73 years old? Did you know that before John Paul II became Pope, communists who had taken over Poland actually wanted John Paul II to be one of the bishops there, which is kind of ironic considering later in his papacy he played a key role in taking down communism.
A fact that I did not know about John Paul II was the fact that he knew multiple languages. It matters on some books, it varies, but it's pretty certain that he knew Polish, Slavic, Russian, Italian, French, Spanish, German, Ukrainian, English, and Latin. That's 10 languages. And
John Paul II was also a huge writer. He wrote so much that if you put together everything that he wrote in his lifetime, it would equal the length of 20 Bibles. And during his papacy, he would average about 3,000 pages a year. We all know that people like Taylor Swift, One Direction, Bruno Mars, a bunch of other celebrities can easily get platinum records within a couple weeks of releasing an album. But who would have thought that a pope would have one of his CDs go platinum too, which means selling over 1 million copies? Well, John Paul II did it. And even more surprising is that it wasn't even like music or anything that was on the CD. It was just him praying the rosary. John Paul II traveled to the moon 3 times. Well, not literally, but he did travel the distance between it 3 times, traveling all over the world. He traveled over 775,000 miles. And he said once, "Aren't I supposed to be Pope for all of the world?"
An interesting fact that I did not know about John Paul II was that he knew all the 2,000 plus bishops in the world by name. Not only that, but he kept a map of all the different dioceses of the world. On top of even that, he knew Swiss guards' names, he knew seminarian names, and random acquaintances that he happened to meet. And these random acquaintances and people who he had seen maybe just once or a few times were always very surprised about how much he knew about them and remembered years later.
John Paul II was also a pretty sweet Catholic James Bond. He had to evade many times Secret Service, and his chauffeur once had to switch into the traffic so quickly that the Secret Service lost him. And then he pulled this sweet move where he switched cars, and the authorities didn't even notice it. Also, as bishop in the Bishop Palace, there were all these hidden bugs and microphones throughout the house that John Paul II knew about. So whenever he wanted the communists to know something, he'd talk really loud to make sure that they'd hear him. But then all of his private conversations he saved for when he went outdoors. Now this one's actually a really beautiful fact that I didn't know about until recently, but probably a lot of people did. John Paul II received a sacrament of confession from Padre Pio. And then 55 years later, canonized the man as a saint. As we all know, that the year John Paul II was elected Pope was the year of 3 popes. That was because his predecessor, John Paul I, died only 30 days after his election. But what most people don't know is that John Paul I actually said when he became Pope, "My name is John Paul I. I will be here a short time. II is coming.
If this cloud settles down. The reaction I'm